All right. The court's going to allow the submission of the voice recording into the docket. However, I feel that we have heard more than enough in regards to it. We do not need to hear any more.
Yes, Judge.
So can we proceed now? And then Mr. Benning, because we did ascertain that is your voice, you will be charged with perjury from this court. I will deal with sentencing after this is over.
Mr. Benning, I really only have one more question for you. Who's the real liar? You or Mr. Carpio?
Objection argumentative.
Agreed.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Tyler, do you have any further questions for Mr. Benning?
I do, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Mr. Benning, can you describe your experience inside of the Bolingbrook Penitentiary, please?
Yeah.
Mr. Benning, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
I'm going to object, Your Honor. I believe this was already asked, and of course it is irrelevant to this proceeding.
I want to hear it, but I'd like Mr. Benning to speak louder.
I'm sorry. I had my voice box down.
Answer the question, Mr. Benning.
Okay. It's a very horrible experience long term to be in prison, especially when you have people that are coming in committing crimes against cops and other law enforcement. And, they come and go faster than you expect to leave yourself. I was attacked a few times while in prison. Funds were very low. You're responsible for your own food, to purchase your own food. And I never expected to be taken to custody and thrown into prison for the nines until a bail hearing. And that took 8 days, and which equaled 3,800 months. There was hardly anyone there most of the time. There was no DOC, law enforcement DOC. There was local DOC that protected me a lot from attacks. Basically, I would just walk around the yard. People seemed to know who I was. There was a lot of stories going around. Some people didn't even know who I was. I tried not to mention who I was in the city, but they knew. There were stories going around, from what I understand, outside the prison walls.
Mr. Benning, do you hold any ill will towards any of the witnesses that testified today?
Actually, I do not. I mean, I guess they said what they had to say. Some of them were just outright lies. I actually don't hold any ill will.
Okay, and just to confirm, you do not want to kill anybody, is that correct?
I do not want to kill anybody, no.
Okay, Your Honor, the defense rests.
State reps, do you have any questions for Mr. Benning?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Benning, how are you doing today?
Just terrific.
From what I understand, you have alleged that there is a conspiracy that has led to this state of affairs, correct?
Yes.
And we are led to believe that Black Uber's staff is part of this conspiracy, correct?
No, Black Uber is not part of a conspiracy, but what they represented, their story was not what happened.
So would it be accurate to say Leo Carpeo and Mrs. Stiles are complicit in this conspiracy?
They are lying, if that's what you want to think of, complicit in a conspiracy.
Okay. And the entire DOJ is complicit in this conspiracy?
No, not the entire DOJ. I can expound further, but I know you want to ask the questions you want to ask.
No, it's fine. We can expound. So the leadership, would it be fair to say the leadership of the DOJ?
It would be two particular people. Particular people in the DOJ. I don't think it's necessarily a conspiracy, but I believe there were statements by one of the lawyers that was tampered with. Yes.
Okay. In communications leading up to this case, you stated that there was a conspiracy being led by Bex Lawson. So I would assume I am, of course, complicit in this conspiracy as well.
No, I didn't say you were complicit in it. I believe that we had a great working relationship when I was in the room and we were going over legislation. I just think that you took personally the release of those tapes. Basically, as I explained to you the other day, it was basically to bleed off support for you.
I apologize if this is out of turn, Your Honor, but may I refer to communications in the docket leading up to this case?
Yes, of course.
All right. Sorry, one moment. I'm just looking for the exact phrase. So, earlier in the court docket, you wrote that you specifically wrote that there was a conspiracy being headed by Bex Lawson. Do you no longer hold that position?
I'll be honest, I used to think it was you, but I don't think you sent the person after me in prison.
But you think I presumably stand with the people who are engineering this against you?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Apologies. My point is, this is a very wide-reaching allegation you're making, and I'm curious, why? What is the motive behind this, in your opinion?
Because I know that you and Endeavor Jackson work very closely. You have a very close business relationship. I believe that the legislation that failed, the Conflict of Interest Act, would have prevented corruption by state representatives and other entities in the city. Yet I'm kind of wondering why you, as the author, voted against your own legislation along with the rest.
If you were at the meeting where we had discussed that, Mr. Benning, you would
Objection,
know.
argumentative.
Sustained.
I was in prison.
Enough, Mr. Benning.
Mr. Benning, it sounds like you have found this experience to be upsetting on a personal level.
Well, if you're held in prison for 3,800 months with no sign of what day you're going to get bail, if any, you're being accused of stuff. You know, I went to PD about illegal gun making in the city, and it was used against me, actually.
So you feel affronted. I imagine hearing a tape played in court upsetting to you as well.
I think if I had played, or my defense had played the tape of you admitting to 2 hits on people, I think you would have acted the same way.
Of course. So when did you first decide that you were going to commit election fraud?
Objection, irrelevance.
What election fraud?
You stated earlier that you distributed
Hold on.
400.
What does
No, no.
election?
We don't have election fraud in the city.
I'm just saying, like, do you consider it ethical behavior?
Hold. I'm going to overrule. I understand that we do not have election fraud in this state yet. However, in the United States of America, there is such a thing as election fraud.
It's not fraud when she actually put out hits on people.
So let's return to your previous testimony. You said that you did not know where the tape originated. Is that correct?
The tape was floating around and it was given to me. I don't remember who gave it to me.
So you claim to know nothing about the origins of the tape, correct?
I know what was on the tape.
But I'm curious, Mr. Benning, because on September 8th, I released a public statement that the tape had been manipulated and edited in an attack by a criminal organization. And in fact, you can see your post directly under my post the day before, where you reference other messages, and therefore you would probably have seen that, correct?
You can't fake gloating on a tape and taking responsibility for it and you feeling euphoric over it. Is that what you mean?
Is the word hit ever used in that tape, Mr. Bennett?
Well, you did put hits out on people. That was used by the victims. Shall I name the victims?
Was there a major crimes case about this? Perhaps this was proven in some kind of court?
They wouldn't take the case. DOJ didn't have the testicular fortitude to take the case. I heard that from Ma Nash himself.
So this is part of the conspiracy as well, then?
Ma Nash knew that you did it.
So Ma Nash and I are in on this conspiracy as well as the leadership of the DOJ, as well
Objection,
as...
badgering the witness.
He wasn't in
Sustained.
charge of DOJ.
Mr. Bennings, please stop. Do not badger the witness, please, Miss Lawson.
Of course. So you distributed 400 copies of the tape around town.
It could have been a little bit less. It was approximate. I was approached by the state about it.
Let's say 350 to be fair.
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Sure, it was a large number. And
It was over a wide period of time, yes.
did you think that was ethical behavior?
Well, I mean, is it ethical to put hits on people?
Mr.
Well-
Benning, you do not ask a question towards Miss Lawson, all right?
Especially because, Mr. Benning, didn't you not just say on a tape earlier that you were considering putting hits out? It's
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
Of course. And when you were dealing with the police about the Moses incident, what was your relationship with the police in that? Were you cooperative with them? Did you work together to resolve this misunderstanding over the bathroom?
I was never approached by the police. I was never questioned by them. I believe there was testimony made that I was not on location when the police arrived, or when they
And-
did a report.
And the park rangers, when you were arrested, do you say you had respectful conduct?
You mean, did I resist arrest?
Yes.
I just stood there. I didn't resist. I didn't make no play for the officer. I made no harm towards the officer.
But you were charged with evading arrest. You were not cooperative, I think.
Well, because I ran and I'm not a very good driver, and I hit a wall.
No further questions.
Defense, do you have any further questions?
No, Your Honor.
Prosecution?
Just one. Or two.
Keep it brief.
Yes. In my opening statement, I talked a little bit about why one would become a state rep. And I just want to ask, I don't want to be here for 30 minutes you explaining why, but briefly, why did you become a state representative?
I ran to help the people. I thought that there was a need for certain laws in the city. I was approached by people not to run, but concerns that they had in the city. I wanted to genuinely help the people of San Andreas.
Okay. And this next question, it's really speaking to your former colleagues, and I think it's a question that that everyone, the state representatives, the people of San Andreas deserve an answer to. And you're welcome to stand in front and talk if you like. The judge is okay with that. But my question is you perjured yourself on the stand. The judge determined that. Why did you lie?
I'm not going to answer that question.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Benning, you may step down. Remember, you are under oath. Does the defense have any further witnesses for Mr. Benning?
No, Your Honor.
Are you both ready for your closing arguments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.